All right, boys and girls, same thing, same story today. You have to have your digital notebook open in one side of your screen and your Edpuzzle in the other so that you can take your notes. So today we're going to talk about, we'll pause if you need some time to do that. Otherwise, I'm moving on. New story structure. It's an inverted pyramid, which is kind of interesting. I don't know if you've ever seen a diagram like this. So we're going to dive into what that means. So it's a type of news story. We're going to write that here. Type of news story writing style. So not all news stories are written like this, but this is one way to do it, and that's what we're going to learn today. And it always starts with the most important information. Move that down. Ooh. Okay. Also, it does not, which is the opposite of does not, it does not start with the most important information, is the does not lead up to the climax. So we're not going from little details to big headline, we're going from headline to little details. All right, so what does that mean? It means that we always want to start with the most important information, okay? That is the big thing with an inverted pyramid. All right, so we're going to take all our notes and then we're going to kind of dive into this article and see what they did correctly. All right, so our main headlines. They have to tell reader simply and clearly what the story is about. You always have to have a headline when you're writing a news article. And usually, typically, the rule is usually has 6 words or fewer. Okay. A lead is a single sentence that begins the news story. Now we talked about leads in our not historical fiction. Oh, I'm not even remember what they're called. What kind of fiction was that? Fictional narrative. Okay, I can think today. All right, we talked about leads in our fictional narrative. So we talked about quotes. We talked about how you can ask a question. It's just how you're going to start your article in order to bring the most audience in. So it contains all the most important information is going to be your lead. So contains the most important information first. That's how we're going to start it. So the first thing you say is going to be about the most important information. The important facts are always shared early in the story. And then there's going to be details that follow. So I'm going to say less newsworthy, but still on topic with the event you're writing about. And they are included at the end. Okay, so let's make sure that our lovely article over here is doing what we talked about. So, first man walks on the moon. Does that tell us all the important, here, main headline. Reader simply and clearly tells us what the story is about. I know that a man is walking on the moon. So definitely. And it usually has 6 words or fewer. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Perfect. All right. So I'm going to draw a line, if I can get this to look right. And I want you to draw a line too, that this headline goes here. And then you can even do a little star because they did a good job. If you can't do a star, that's fine. You can put a little circle next to it. Perfect. All right. We also know that we need to start with an inverted pyramid. So the first thing that we're going to write is that we're going to start with the most important information. We have to make sure that that is there. And again, that's about the lead too. So it says July 21st, 1969 at 10:56 p.m. Astronaut Neil Armstrong stepped off the lunar landing module Eagle and became the first human to walk the surface of the moon. That is one long sentence. Okay, so it does a couple different things. We definitely start with the most important information because it's very clear as to what happened. And it's the sentence that begins the news story. It contains all that important information. So they did a good job with this. All right, from there, we need to start making sure that we have important facts early. So what happened? We're going to keep reading. When Armstrong stepped onto the lunar surface, he said, "That's one small step for man and one giant leap for mankind." He then planted his left foot on the powdery surface of the moon. He was joined by Buzz Aldrin at 11:11 p.m. Together, the men took photos of the moon's terrain, ran scientific tests, spoke with President Nixon, and planted a U.S. flag on the moon. So those are all important facts that happened as far as the lunar walk. It's not the most important. The most important is the first step, which was Neil Armstrong, but then they continued as what else they did while they were walking on the moon. Okay, so we definitely did this. We shared early in the story some important facts. Good. And then finally, less worthy but still on topic with the event, and they're included at the end. So let's make sure that it's not as important as what we already read, but it still has to be in here. So it said a television camera captured and recorded Armstrong's first steps on the moon and beamed the signal back to Earth, where millions watched the event. So is it important that the camera was there to capture this? Definitely. But it's more important that he was there actually taking the steps. So this would deem as less important, and therefore that's why it's at the end. It's not as important. So they did a good job with making sure that they structured that well. Okay. Make sure that you have all these notes on here, and that is all we are doing for today. All right, boys and girls, good job.